If you're a millennial or part of Gen Z and you can't afford housing, baby boomers would like to have a word with you. Maybe you should cancel Netflix, stop buying that expensive coffee. Maybe that's what your real problem is. And this is according to the latest poll that was done by King's College London. This is a UK poll, so I want to be clear about that. I know we're in the United States, the majority of our audience is in the United States, but it feels really, really good to know that older people in other countries also have broken minds when it comes to why younger generations are struggling financially. Now, more than half of baby boomers, those born between 1946 and 1964, by the way, it's a giant number of years. They believe that the luxury lifestyle choices made by young people are to blame for their inability to save enough money. And so what accounts for luxury lifestyle choices? Because when I think of luxury lifestyle choices, I think about like jet setting, think about going on a yacht. No, for them, buying coffee and not making your own coffee, luxury lifestyle choice. Paying $15 a month for Netflix, luxury lifestyle choice. If you just save that extra $15 a month, maybe you can buy a $1.5 million home. Yeah. You can't, okay? Now, UK adults, okay, so let's go to younger generations and what they themselves think about all of this. They actually kind of agree with older generations, which was a shocking part of this survey. In total, 48% of the UK public think that young people spend too much of their income on takeaway coffees and food, mobile phones, holidays abroad, and subscription services. The same portion of millennials actually agree with this view, as well as 43% of Generation Z. What?
So I have a theory on that. Where do we get our ideas? We get them from family, friends, school, but also media. And this is the thing that I'm less familiar with UK media, to be fair. So I'll just use my experience in US media. Constantly like, oh, the younger generations, they spend so much money doing this. So that probably got into the heads of the younger generation too.
Yeah, can we pause for 1 second? Okay, do you guys remember what, I don't know, about like the first 6 months of the pandemic was like?
Yeah.
I remember what it was like. I remember spending virtually no money. A lot of people spent virtually no money. Everything was closed, businesses were shut down. And so you had no choice but to stop spending money. So did you accumulate enough money for your finances to like miraculously improve to the point where you could freaking buy a house? No. Because at the same time, we also saw the cost of housing really skyrocket because of the money that was printed and given to financial institutions who then bought literal neighborhoods with that money. But anyway, my point is, saving 15 bucks a month by not paying for Netflix is not going to solve the problem of unaffordable housing.
Yeah, that's why I brought up the media, because if they were honest about the facts, nobody would have that thought in their heads. The price of housing, both rent and buying, again, I'm speaking mainly from a US perspective, it's way higher than it was, even if you adjust for inflation from when the boomers were growing up. And the student debt is monstrous compared to when the boomers were growing up. And we could do all of that, we could do it based on inflation adjusted money, but that's not what you hear. And part of the reason why you don't hear that, and part of the reason why the boomers have a completely different view on this, is because the hardest thing in the world is to escape your own perspective. So for the boomers, they thought, what do you mean? College was almost free. Yeah, when you went to college, but not anymore, right? When they're like, what do you mean? The houses were cheap. Yeah, when you were buying houses, but not today. And so they just assume that millennials and Gen Z are living under the same conditions that they lived in, which isn't remotely true.
Yeah, and I also want to address one other thing. It's a little bit beside the point of this story, but obviously in the list of luxury lifestyle choices, they talk about traveling abroad, young people traveling abroad. Listen, as the child of baby boomers who literally worked their entire lives until they got to their golden years where they can go out there and travel. You know what happened to them once they got to their golden years where they could actually go out there and travel? They got sick. And it was incredibly difficult for them to travel. And I mean, it's not just my parents. I've seen that happen with so many people in the same generation, the baby boomer generation that's now being critical of young people who take some time off to travel the world. Yeah. No, I want to travel the world now, okay? When I'm healthy, when I can walk, when I'm mobile, when I don't have all these ailments that are slowing me down. Like, life isn't just about work, save. And then like when you're 65, maybe, and by the way, at this point, if you're 65, you're probably not gonna be able to retire. But if you do everything right, and in this magical utopian world where they think you can retire at 65, a lot of people get sick by then.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I wanna travel now. I wanna see the world now. I wanna live now.
So I'll add one more thing to that particular line of thought. If you're in Europe, you guys take these great trips really all across Europe, all across the world, and it's built into a lot of the education systems in Europe. Do not ever let them talk you out of it.
Exactly.
Look, I know life's a balancing act, and you do have to save for the future.
Yes.
But you also have to live now.
Yep.
Okay, don't go to either extreme. The way that young people vacation and go traveling in backpacks and stuff in Europe is awesome. It's one of the best things in the world. Don't let the old people talk you out of it. That's not the main problem. The main problem is the economic system that we live under today.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that economic system. Now, look, there are some good things to come out of this survey, even though it's a little contradictory, because the respondents were also asked whether they think the current economic system is putting young people at a disadvantage, and an overwhelming majority believe that is the case. So apparently they think young people are wasting money, but they also acknowledge that the economy is pretty much rigged against them. So 76% of the public recognize that factors such as increasing house prices, stricter lending rules, and low wage growth are preventing young people from buying a home. And I wanted to share some data with you. And even though this survey was done in the UK, I can't help but show you what housing prices look like here in the United States. So just between December of 2020 and December of 2021, in just 1 year, the development of single family home prices in the US increased significantly by index points. So it went from 234.46 index points to 278.63 index points. And it's partly because of what I was explaining before. You have the Federal Reserve printing money, handing it over to financial institutions, including private equity firms, who then turn around and use that money to buy up entire neighborhoods of homes, single family residences.
Now, the government could stop them from doing that, but they won't.
They won't.
And that is affecting the housing prices and other prices so much more than if you go on a 1 week vacation. So that's why the whole thing's Netflix. Your Netflix subscription? No, market forces are what's actually to cause for the issue here.
So let's take a look at housing costs and how much of a burden housing costs are for low income renters. And this is an international look at things, right? So share of low income private tenants spending more than 40% of their income on housing, meaning rent. And look at that, at the top of the list, you have Great Britain. Actually, number 1 is New Zealand, which was surprising to me, where you have 56% of low income tenants spending more than 40% of their income on rent. Coming in at number 2 is Great Britain, where you have 47.5%, and in the United States, that number is 45.6%.
And I want to draw attention to one other quick thing in that particular study. Canada is so much lower than America, even though we're right next to one another and similar in almost every way, except our government. Our government in America is much more right-wing, much more corporate friendly, and allows the banks to do anything they want. And that's a difference, and you see it in your lives. You can afford a home in Canada right across the border a lot more than we can because our government is more corrupt.
And look, inflation is impacting everyone right now, including those in the UK. So if the economic system was already putting you at a disadvantage, it's only been exacerbated by inflation, which you can see in this graph that specifically looks at inflation in the UK between 1989 to January of 2022. So we're starting to experience record inflation. It's going back to what it was in the 1980s when it was incredibly high. And that's pretty terrible considering, again, people were already at a significant disadvantage with how the economy was already doing.
Yep. Go on vacation. We're obsessed with that, okay? Have fun, enjoy your life. And by the way, when you come back from the vacation, change your government. We have corporate rule all across the world. We actual human beings have to fight against the machines, those corporate machines that have captured all of our governments, and most especially the American government. And they have these corporate policies that are driving up the prices, not you guys. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.